You're welcome to Flashback, a recap of stories that made headlines during the week. And we start off with Monday in Abuja, when the Vice President Kashim Shettima said no one can accuse President Bola Tinubu's administration of shielding any individual from prosecution because of their ties to government. The Vice President spoke at a two-day capacity building workshop jointly organized by the EFCC and the National Judicial Institute for Justices and Judges on curbing economic and financial crimes.
Economic and financial crimes continue to evolve in scale and sophistication, eroding public trust, distorting the economy, and weakening state institutions. The judiciary's role in this fight remains both delicate and decisive as it interprets law, resolves disputes, and determines the fate of those accused of financial misconduct. It is against this backdrop that the EFCC and the NJI are hosting the 7th edition of the Justices and Judges Training Workshop with the theme Enhancing Justice in the Fight Against Economic and Financial Crimes.
The Nigerian judiciary is blessed with competent and courageous judges and justices. The actions and decisions by a few are sources of worry to agencies such as the EFCC.
Collaboration can only be achieved through the National Judicial Institute.
The late justice emboldens the corrupt, selective justice discourages the upright, and opaque justice erodes public trust.
No matter the partisan sentiments woven against us, there is no person or group who can accuse this administration of shielding political actors on account of their affiliation to this government or the political party. We have allowed both the judiciary and the anti-graft agencies to exercise their constitutional and statutory powers.
The fight against economic and financial crimes cannot succeed if the judiciary falters. Each ruling, each judgment carries implications that extend far beyond the courtroom. They either strengthen or weaken the people's faith in the capacity of the law.
Tuesday recorded the tragic loss in the aftermath of a tanker explosion in Eza Village, Kacha local government area of Niger State, where at least 38 persons were declared dead on the first day of emergency response alone. The reports say the tanker loaded with fuel fell on a bad portion of the Kacha-Agai Road, spilling its content. Eyewitnesses told TVC News that some residents rushed to scoop the leaking fuel before the explosion occurred. Now, several others who sustained varying degrees of burns were taken to the hospital. Governor of Niger State, Umaru Bago, described the incident as disheartening and tragic. And on that same day at the National Assembly in Abuja, the Senate stepped down consideration of a bill seeking to amend the Criminal Code Act to impose stiffer penalties on certain offences. The Criminal Code Act Amendment Bill sought tougher sentences also for sexual offences.
I'm very sure every religion practices that we should be faithful in whatever we are doing. But the same religion gives us the right, for instance, if the person has medical issues, the person can go and say, I want to terminate that pregnancy.
I do believe that if we are increasing the penalty for other cases of defilement. Defilement is important. Abuse of male or female or men or women is important. That this also should carry a much higher term.
On Wednesday, the death toll from the tanker explosion in Esa Community, Kacha local government area of Niger State rose to 42. The National Emergency Management Agency confirmed that several survivors with severe burns were transferred to the Federal Medical Center, Bida, for treatment.
Mahmoud lost his friend and roommate at the Federal Government College, Bida. His friend was among those who rushed to scoop fuel from the falling tanker before it was set ablaze by the driver.
Now, going to SS2. That boy father is in fire catching now. In the hospital now.
So now my father come here?
Yes.
Falling vehicles are a common sight along these routes. This portion of the federal road leading from Bidda has been abandoned for decades. Eyewitnesses like Surajo lost 2 of his siblings in the incident. He said the bad road is now a major security concern.
So the moment the accident happened, the tanker driver tried to set the truck on fire. So one of the black marketers tried to intervene by holding him. From there, they were dragging each other. Before you know, the man ignited the truck.
As I'm speaking to you, we have 39 lives lost and about 60 people were seriously injured.
Residents of Esa and surrounding villages are appealing to the government to urgently rehabilitate the road to prevent further tragedies.
Especially the administration of Bola Tinubu to pay immediate attention to this very road. The road is claiming many lives, especially youths that nation depend.
Flashback now to Thursday when the National Economic Council endorsed President Bola Tinubu's proposal for the overhaul and revamp of training institutions for security agencies nationwide. The president's proposal followed a presentation made to council by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, on the realization of President Tinubu's vision for $1 trillion economy, which also highlighted the necessity of investing more in security by the 3 tiers of government. And at its 152nd meeting, NEC constituted a committee chaired by the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, to oversee the process of overhaul of training institutions for security agencies across the country.
The issue of renovation, remodeling and equipping of all the training institutions of Nigerian police across the country have nothing to do with the state police. Like I said, it was as a result of the presentation made by the Honorable Minister of Budget and National Planning. Of course, part of his presentation, there are some areas that has to do with security. And of course, the Council and the President raised a serious concern about the condition of the training institutions. But of course, before today, we met several presentations here. Even I remember I was here with my colleagues. All the 36 state governors made presentation as regards the state police, and all of us agree on the establishment of state police because we believe it is an idea that the time has come.
Without records, without counting to our revenue generation, that is why NEC, in their wisdom today, extended our terms of reference to cover the scope that will get us to look into what is happening in that sector.
Still on Thursday at the presidential villa, President Bola Tinubu swore in Professor Joash Amopitan as the 6th chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. President Tinubu asked the new INEC chair to protect the integrity of Nigeria's elections and the electoral process, as well as strengthen the institutional capacity of INEC.
With this swearing in, Professor Joash Amopitan has now been cleared to lead Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, a task critical to the survival of Nigeria's democracy. He has been charged to protect the integrity of Nigeria's elections and electoral processes, as well as strengthen the institutional capacity of INEC.
Your nomination for the important role and the subsequent confirmation by the Senate is a testament to your capacity and the confidence reposed in you by both the executive and the legislative arm of government. The significant achievement marked the beginning of a challenging yet rewarding journey, and I trust that you will approach your responsibilities with the highest level of integrity, dedication, and patriotism.
President Bola Tinubu acknowledged Nigeria's democratic journey and commended INEC for helping to steer the process despite obvious challenges.
To maintain public trust in elections, electoral integrity must be protected. All aspects of the process, from registration to campaigning, immediate access, voting and counting, should be transparent, non-violent, and be credible.
Professor Amopitan already has his work cut out. He assumes office at a crucial time when there are growing calls to restore confidence in the country's electoral system and to introduce reforms that will enhance voting in Nigeria. He pledged to defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I will reaffirm what I have just taken, that I'm going to defend the Constitution and the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Professor Amopitan, a senior advocate of Nigeria and professor of law at the University of Jos, was confirmed by the Senate on the 16th of October, following his endorsement by the National Council of State. He replaces Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, whose tenure expired on the 7th of October. The immediate task before Professor Amopitan is the Anambra State governorship election, followed by other off-cycle polls.
And finally, on Flashback tonight, President Bola Tinubu on Friday approved a major shake-up in the hierarchy of Nigeria's military leadership. He appointed Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as Chief of Defense Staff, a move aimed at strengthening the nation's security architecture.
Decisive reorganization of the Armed Forces Top Command. President Bola Tinubu appointed Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as the new Chief of Defense Staff, replacing General Christopher Musa.
To articulate valuable and forward-thinking policies.
The President also named Major General Waidi Shaibu as the new Chief of Army Staff, Air Vice Marshal Sunday Aneke as Chief of Air Staff, and Rear Admiral Idi Abbas as Chief of Naval Staff. However, in a mark of continuity and confidence, Major General Emmanuel Odiandeye retains his position as the Chief of Defense Intelligence. In a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dare, the President expressed deep appreciation to the outgoing Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and other former service chiefs for their patriotic service and dedicated leadership. President Tinubu charged the newly appointed service chiefs to justify the confidence reposed in them by enhancing professionalism, vigilance, and comradeship within the armed forces of Nigeria. All appointments, according to the statement, take immediate effect. With Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede now at the helm as Chief of Defense Staff and Major General Odiandeye continuing in intelligence leadership, the nation's defense structure enters a new phase, one the President hopes will bring renewed strength and cohesion to Nigeria's security operations.